Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus, 1818, by Mary Shelley is a groundbreaking novel that straddles both the Gothic horror and science fiction genres. While often classified as a Gothic tale due to its dark, atmospheric setting, the novel is equally a profound exploration of scientific ambition, the consequences of unchecked intellectual curiosity, and the human condition. Shelley's work is a layered narrative, incorporating multiple perspectives, and it deals with questions of morality, responsibility, and the nature of life itself. The novel's narrative structure is a unique feature that contributes to its thematic depth. It is framed by a series of letters written by Captain Robert Walton to his sister. Walton's Arctic expedition serves as the backdrop for the novel, and it is through his letters that the reader first encounters Victor Frankenstein, who is found in a weakened state, suffering from the effects of his pursuits. Walton's perspective introduces Frankenstein's tragic tale, but it also acts as a reflection of the theme of ambition and the dangers of unrelenting scientific pursuit. The story then shifts to Frankenstein's own narrative, where he recounts his early life, scientific experiments, and the creation of the monster. This narrative is complemented by a third layer of storytelling, which is the monster's own account of his experiences. This layered structure provides a multifaceted view of the events and allows for a more nuanced exploration of the novel's key themes, such as isolation, the quest for knowledge, and moral responsibility. At the heart of Frankenstein is Victor Frankenstein's creation of the monster, which becomes a metaphor for the dangers of human overreach. Frankenstein's pursuit of scientific knowledge, specifically his quest to overcome death by creating life, leads him to reanimate a humanoid creature. However, upon seeing the hideousness of his creation, he is filled with disgust and horror, immediately abandoning the monster. This rejection of the monster is a central moral conflict in the novel. Frankenstein's failure to take responsibility for his creation is the catalyst for the tragedy that follows. The monster, though initially innocent and capable of deep emotion, is subjected to relentless cruelty due to his appearance. Rejected by society, he becomes embittered and vengeful, ultimately turning on his creator. The theme of isolation is prevalent throughout, with both Frankenstein and the monster experiencing profound loneliness and alienation. Frankenstein isolates himself in his pursuit of knowledge, while the monster is isolated by the cruelty and fear of others. One of the novel's most profound aspects is the exploration of the monster's character. Though initially depicted as a terrifying and malevolent figure, the monster reveals himself to be deeply human in his thoughts and emotions. His narrative allows the reader to see him not as a mere villain, but as a tragic figure who has been abandoned and mistreated by his creator and by society. In his recounting, the monster speaks of his desire for companionship and love, and his anguish at being rejected by all those he encounters. His longing for acceptance and the pursuit of knowledge mirror Victor's own ambitions, but unlike Victor, the monster seeks understanding and empathy. The monster's plea for a companion, a mate created by Victor to alleviate his loneliness, further underscores the complex ethical dilemmas in the novel. Victor, however, is horrified by the idea of creating another creature like the monster and refuses. This refusal sets off a series of tragic events, with the monster seeking vengeance for his suffering and the betrayal of his creator. The monster's pursuit of Victor, ultimately leading to their confrontation in the Arctic, is a reflection of the destructive consequences of Victor's hubristic actions. Frankenstein explores the themes of knowledge and responsibility in profound ways. Victor's scientific ambitions are initially portrayed as admirable, driven by the desire to conquer death and create life. However, as he delves deeper into his experiments, he becomes increasingly obsessed and reckless, ignoring the potential dangers of his actions. Shelley critiques the Enlightenment ideal of limitless human progress, suggesting that unrestrained intellectual ambition without moral consideration can have catastrophic consequences. Victor's refusal to take responsibility for his creation exemplifies the novel's moral message. His abandonment of the monster can be seen as a critique of the scientific community's tendency to push boundaries without considering the ethical implications of their work. Shelley raises important questions about the moral obligations of creators, whether in science, art, or life, to take responsibility for their creations and the impact they have on the world. The novel also explores the consequences of playing God. In creating life, Victor assumes a godlike power, but he is unwilling to take on the duties that accompany such power. The novel's subtitle, The Modern Prometheus, references the Greek myth of Prometheus, who defied Zeus to give fire to humanity. Like Prometheus, Victor is punished for his overreach and hubris. However, while Prometheus ultimately receives some redemption, Victor's fate is far more tragic, offering a more sobering view of the consequences of human ambition. While Frankenstein is undeniably a Gothic novel with its dark, brooding atmosphere and its exploration of horror and the supernatural, it also stands as one of the first works of science fiction. Shelley's blending of Gothic tropes with speculative science makes the novel ahead of its time. The novel asks questions that are still relevant today about the ethics of scientific discovery, the dangers of unchecked ambition, and the role of creator and creation. In this sense, Frankenstein is both a timeless warning about the consequences of pushing the limits of science without considering the broader implications and a powerful meditation on the human condition. Frankenstein is a richly layered novel that tackles complex themes of ambition, knowledge, responsibility, and the consequences of creation. Through the tragic story of Victor Frankenstein and his monster, Mary Shelley critiques the dangers of unchecked intellectual ambition, the ethical responsibilities of creators, and the alienating effects of isolation and rejection. Though often considered a Gothic horror novel, it is also a pioneering work of science fiction that raises timeless questions about humanity's relationship with science and the consequences of its unchecked power. Shelley's work remains as relevant today as when it was first published, continuing to provoke thought and discussion on the limits of human knowledge and the moral responsibilities that come with creation.